Welcome everyone to this week's episode of In the Know with Kat Bobineau. Today, my extra special guest is Mariah Matthews, and she is a project manager at Genetech. So, welcome Mariah to the show.
Thank you.
So, how about you let us know what you do at Genetech?
All right. So at Genentech, I'm a program coordinator. I coordinate a few programs on the engagement side. My department is called Neighborhood Work Environments, and we are an internal team that helps different departments at Genentech transition from working in a more traditional work environment, having cubes and offices, to an open work environment that's more collaborative. So a lot of architects, space planners, planning managers, program managers, a wide variety of expertise across the team. And my role as a program coordinator is helping create programs and implement programs that get people excited about moving. Because as you can guess, it's definitely a nerve-wracking thing.
Yeah.
It's very different for people that have been working in an office for a really long time and have that sense of comfort in their space to now know they won't have that. So providing programs and opportunities for them to get really comfortable with the move process, get to know the other people. There aren't walls anymore, so really getting to know the people on your team and the people that'll be on your floor, just making the experience as fun and engaging as possible.
Okay, yeah, I've been to Genetech, and so, but that was about 2 years ago, I think, about 2.5 years ago. So has it changed a lot? Because I've been in the laboratory there before, and it seemed kind of open for the scientists on the bench, but I don't know if that's the part that changed or is it other parts that's changed.
Yeah, so I started about a year and a half ago, and that was when the building that I'm in right now, Building 35, opened. And that's a building on our campus that's it's the only building on campus that has no offices or cubes. It's completely open.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, that would be one of the biggest changes. We also opened an employee center next door, so another brand new building. The labs haven't been switched yet. As you can imagine, that's definitely a little bit more of an extensive process because labs are pretty set in what they need,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely something down the line that I'm hoping we can do.
Okay, cool. So, how about you let the audience know how'd you get into being a program coordinator at Genetech?
Yeah, so a little bit of a windy road. So I'll go back a little bit, not too far. Story, but I am about a year and a half out of school. So I graduated in May 2015, and I started school and finished school, but started school with this focus of going to pharmacy school. So I was a biology major,
Mm-hmm.
taking all these entry level bio classes, really kind of getting my feet wet. I always really liked science. Wasn't really sure. I liked pharmacy. Still was kind of like, I'm still going to explore it, but pretty set and like, that seems like a good thing to do. I'm just going to stick with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of my freshman year, I applied to be an honors biology major and got into the program. So my sophomore year, I was an honors biology major and taking really rigorous biology, chemistry, physics, and it was just burning me out. And I wasn't excited about school. I wasn't really wanting to dive more into what I was learning.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of going through the motions, and that was really frustrating because I was like, I had this goal and I had this plan set, and now I don't really know what I'm gonna do. And I just started to talk to different people, my family, my friends, mentors on my campus, and just started to explore other things. And a lot of them encouraged me to really rev up on my general education classes and kind of choose some things that sound interesting. So I actually ended up kind of reversing in that process. So I dropped the honors major and just was a regular biology major. And because of that, I had a lot of time. So I could have graduated early or I could have picked up a minor. And I did. So I had taken a sociology class and it was really interesting to me. And I decided to pick up the sociology minor. And in that, I started taking a lot of organizational development classes and really understanding what an organization looks like and a workplace looks like and how that can change.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hooked, and I thought it was an amazing area and still let me be in this science and kind of healthcare setting, but focusing more on people and motivation and teams and some of my core values and things that I'm really interested in. Find myself in those roles a lot. So at this point, I was a junior, like second semester, and all my extracurricular experience until then had been around pharmacy. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how am I going to apply for jobs in this field if I have no experience? And I started applying to jobs my senior year, still kind of science based, a wide variety of jobs. And there was an internship at Genentech. I'm from Chicago, so I was all the way in Illinois. And I just applied, and I didn't hear back for a while, and then I heard back, and they said they wanted to interview me, and I interviewed twice, and then I moved like 3 weeks after I graduated. So it happened really fast, and it was definitely exciting and nerve-wracking, but it's been an amazing experience. And I interned for a year here, kind of in a lot of different roles, just supporting different projects, and then
Mm-hmm.
I started as a program coordinator in June.
Oh, well, congratulations. I mean, it seems like everything just kind of fell into place for you. You went to college, you kind of found what you wanted halfway between. It was a mixture. You got that internship. And what college did you go to?
University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. So, yeah.
Okay. So, how are you liking the San Francisco Bay Area?
I like it a lot. It's definitely different. I think being raised in Chicago and then staying in Illinois for school, I was very Illinois socialized. I definitely traveled and studied abroad and knew that there was more out there, but I'd never really spent a significant amount of time or lived anywhere else for a really long time, like more
Mm-hmm.
than a month.
Yeah. Where
So
did
it
you
was
study abroad to?
I studied abroad during school in Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and South Africa.
Nice.
Yeah, so definitely had some experience abroad, but there's so much diversity in the U.S.,
Mm-hmm.
which I have learned since moving here, that it's also kind of been a boost in just exploring other parts of this country. But yeah, I like being here. It's very different, definitely a different way of life, but it's awesome. I'm really happy to be here. I've learned a lot about myself, which has been amazing. Things I know I couldn't have learned unless I kind of pushed myself out there and had other people like my parents really encourage me to come and my friends. And it's definitely been a roller coaster and kind of getting to know myself and what I like and don't like and figuring out this new area and making new friends and kind of all the things that come with going to a new place. But it's been an amazing experience that I wouldn't trade for anything.
Okay, well, that's really cool. We're glad to have you out here in the Bay Area. We open our arms basically to just about anyone in the Bay Area. You can come from another state or another country as long as you are nice. We just don't care. So, welcome. I
Super.
know it hasn't been that long. So your role at Genentech is still fairly new. How do you feel about it and everything that's happening for you at Genentech?
Yeah, I really like what I do, which has been awesome. I know that I'm definitely a millennial, and in this sense of like, I want to go to work and have a great day every day, and I want it to be different and exciting. And while I've learned that maybe not every single day is going to be super exciting, I definitely come to work energized and I come to work excited about what I'm doing. Even in the hard days or frustrating days and things aren't going well, at the end, I'm still happy where I am and still happy to do the work that I do. It's a great opportunity. I think being in California, in this area in general, there's a lot of unique work opportunities and just the style of work and the flexibility and just a really nice kind of sense of work-life balance, which I really appreciate. And that's pretty clearly defined and outlined. And like this, these are what you can do. You can work from home. You can manage your schedule based on other things. And while definitely you always need to get work done, it's definitely a nice sense of like prioritizing your personal life as well, which I really appreciate. I'm definitely a little bit spoiled kind of starting off in this area.
Yeah.
But I like what I do. I like that I get to support different projects. No 2 days have been the same. So I'm very happy.
Okay, cool. So, were you able to find somewhere to live in San Francisco, or are you living in another city? Because I know San Francisco is costly.
Yeah. So I actually lived in San Francisco for almost a year, while I was interning, and I lucked up on a nice rent-controlled, shouldn't say apartment because I was in my one room, but in a full apartment, with two roommates, which was a really good experience. It's the most people I've lived with in my life so far. So definitely an adjustment, but I really liked it. It helped me get to learn the city. I was a little bit closer to work, which was nice. And now I live in Oakland, which I love to death. It is my favorite part of the Bay so far. And I really like being over there. Definitely a longer commute, but I think commuting is just kind of a part of life here.
Yeah.
I've heard one of my friends said, you're either going to commute for work or commute for your social life, which was true for me. I was closer to work when I lived in the city, but a lot of my friends are in Oakland, and I was spending a lot of time in Oakland. I have family friends in East Bay, and it was definitely like constantly going back and forth across the bridge. So it's nice to just be able to be there most of the time and then just come this side for work.
Yeah, that's good. So, as someone born and raised in Oakland, I can see why you love it.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself, or what I should say is, do you find that starting off in biology, but getting your minor in sociology, did that combination help you where you are today? Like being able to take both sciences and create this opportunity for yourself?
Yeah, I think it definitely did. I constantly hear when I tell people that, like, oh, that's a very interesting combination. I think I think STEM fields are amazing. I think people in those fields are amazing, and being able to create a lot of different things, especially things that are helping people in a wide variety of realms, whether that be engineering or developing a drug, and the possibilities are endless. But I think there is sometimes, and although I do think it's getting better, that the soft skills for people in STEM that are interested in STEM can sometimes get a little lost.
I know, I can see that.
Yeah. I originally kind of got into that frame of thinking and interest in that topic when my grandparents were in the hospital for different reasons, and just listening to their doctors and nurses talk to them about things. And sometimes it's like I could look at them like that just went way over their head. So this sense of like being able to take these really complicated things in the STEM world and break them down for someone and be able to explain them. And then in general, just being able to get along with people and be collaborative. That's something that's definitely really valued. I think you can learn a lot of skills kind of on the job. Like if you present yourself as someone that's teachable and someone that can really jump in and learn on the go, that I think is valued a lot more if you're someone that people want to be around, and when the going gets tough, someone that's like, okay, I'm gonna stick by your side, versus someone that's like got all these technical skills but can't really have a solid conversation with you.
Yeah, and I might get in trouble with this when I say this from somebody in my audience, but I've often heard when people who go for that PhD, which is that terminal degree, and you become an expert in that field, that a lot of those people cannot tell an elementary student what they do. Like they cannot break it down. They are so technical that breaking it down into layman's terms is difficult. And so I think sometimes people forget that, especially in the STEM fields, that not everyone speaks the same jargon as you. And sometimes you have to make some sort of jump for someone to understand what you're trying to sell them. So I get that.
Yeah. So definitely learning about kind of how people operate. Sociology is really a a lot of it and what I studied is based in like self-awareness and emotional intelligence and just being able to understand yourself so that you can then start to understand others. And it's been tremendous in just kind of applying it in this type of setting. I mean, Genentech is a huge biotech company. A lot of really established and accomplished scientists and doctors and pharmacists and a lot of people that come here to create medicines, run clinical trials, and the list goes on. So really experienced people, and so far, I mean, very nice and like personable people. But there's also people in labs and really that are really focused on the science. So I think as much of a balance as people can have while they are either exploring these STEM fields or really getting into it, and just making sure that they also utilize and practice those soft skills, I think is really important.
Okay, sounds good. So let's jump back a little bit further. And can you tell us why you decided you wanted to study biology in the first place? What got you interested in it and when you were younger?
Ooh. Um, the first time I was interested in it, or actually, that's the second. The first time I was interested in it was probably in fifth grade. And my science teacher, Miss Allen, I still remember. And it was a time, it's kind of gross, but like we were dissecting animals and looking at all the different parts of the bodies. And somehow I just started thinking about like my own body and how complex it is. And that was probably maybe like the seed in the soil. And I just kept being interested. Like that was my favorite part of the day. And then I'd say the second time and third time were in high school when I took my freshman biology class with Mr. Katz, who I still talk to today. He's one of my favorite teachers. And
Nice.
just learning about, really, it was learning about my body and how it works and how you fuel. You really have this machine, and you can choose to really give it good stuff and feed it and groom it, and or
Mm-hmm.
you can give it all bad stuff and just that sense. And then also like there can be all these other factors. Like you can be a completely healthy person, quote unquote healthy, and still develop cancer and
Mm-hmm.
still develop certain things. So just those complexities of the body really intrigued me. And then I took AP biology and dove a little bit more. So it was just always my favorite topic and very hard. Definitely a tough subject, but always something that really intrigued me. And then learning more about all the things you could do in healthcare, I think even more. I was like, oh, this is a really great foundation. So no matter what, I could definitely go into what I do now, or if I did decide later, like I wanted to go to pharmacy school or med school, or there's so many different things you can do, and understanding the body and being in a specialty. And I just thought the possibilities were endless. So yeah, it definitely stuck with me in different points of school and having really great teachers to kind of break it down for me, but definitely a challenge as well.
That's really cool. Like, I love to give a shout out when someone says it was a teacher because a lot of times people don't realize being a teacher is very hard, but when you are good at it, you impact students in certain ways, and that seems like that's what happened with you. You were impacted by your teachers to go ahead and study biology because you learned how interesting it was, or they made it interesting, and then you decided to go along that path. Did you
Yep.
have anyone in your family or anyone in personal life that also went into STEM before you that you looked up to?
Actually, no. So my dad and my stepmom have been in the pharmaceuticals field, but not really on the hard science side. My dad also has a science background, but it was never kind of like pushed on me or anything. Like I just knew that's what he studied.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my mom's a lawyer, and like my grandparents' backgrounds in education, and my aunt and uncle in law. So very kind of more law, writing, English history
Mm-hmm.
background. No one, and then like my stepdad was an econ, so a little bit here and there. I think it was more so the industry. Like I always knew about the pharmaceutical industry
Right.
specific, and I always knew, like I knew people that were doctors, but never any like specific person. which was also cool. I mean, something I like kind of fed into, and like being the first person in my family to explore this subject, which was nice. I mean, it still is just kind of having a balance of different backgrounds. When our family conversations, we can all bring something different to the table.
Well, that's really cool that you guys can do that. Have an opportunity that everyone's background is so diverse that you can just come in and have a conversation about, well, let's see, English, law, econ,
Yeah,
pharmacy, and biology.
yeah.
I think I got them all, right?
Education, that's a big one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, education. Yeah,
Education. Yeah, I mean, that's really cool, though, that you have that opportunity, that everyone has this diverse background. But it just goes to show, too, that even though you've had pharmacy or pharmaceuticals and even doctors that you knew, that it was teachers who helped pave that way for you and helped you get to that point of, well, maybe I will go on that hard science. So that's cool. So you went into science, got your degree in biology. Now you're at Genentech. What do you think you see in the future for you? Do you really want to stay in this type of field, or do you considering going back to school, maybe to pharmacy school?
I definitely am not on the pharmacy school track anymore. Although still a great time in my life than I thought I would be. But I'm definitely really wanting to learn more about organizational development. That's kind of the broader umbrella term for a lot of the things that I do. So working with organizations to develop in a lot of different ways. It could also be working with leaders in a more executive coach setting. So if a new leader joins a team, working with them to kind of make a 90-day plan. It can be learning and development, so in the more of the training space. But I knew either way when I was graduating, even when I knew I was interested in pharmacy, or I thought I was interested in pharmacy, I knew I wanted to work a little bit before I went to school, which I'm so glad I did. I know everyone is on a totally different path, and for some people, easier to just kind of go straight through, but for me, being a little bit indecisive, having some experience and knowing, like, okay, this is what I'm interested in, has made grad school more, it's had a lot more motivation. Like, I know I'm really interested in this. I mean, grad school is an investment for sure. So I know this is something I really want to learn more about. So definitely down the line, I'm not really sure when, but going back to school and getting a master's in organizational development or social psychology or organizational psychology, they're all kind of mixed. And looking at different programs, I think I would like to move again, just to explore another place. It's really been nice being in the Bay, and I really enjoy it, but I have really valued the sense of moving, so I would like to move to another place again. I don't really know where yet.
Well, I mean, the sky's the limit. You can go pretty much wherever you want. You can stay here in the country. You can leave the country. You know, that's your option. So I just say, I was a roaming nomad probably through all my 20s. So I lived in Texas and Vermont and Alabama. So, I say go for it. But outside of obviously moving and possibly travel, is there anything you like to do for fun outside of work?
Ooh, I have really gotten into working out and kind of like the sense of physical fitness. My favorite thing is boxing. I love boxing.
Nice.
That's like a new activity, but I like to go. I go boxing. I like to take a boxing class about once a week. I really like movies and TV shows. Really big TV buff. So in my spare time, I'm always catching up on shows.
What's your favorite?
My favorite, I've got a lot of favorites right now. Atlanta's definitely up there. I think it's so well written. Queen Sugar is up there as well. How to Get Away with Murder. I mean, I'm a huge Sean DeLand fan, so yeah, those are probably my top three right now. But Insecure also, I've been watching that. Some good shows this fall.
Okay.
Yeah, and then movies, a lot more documentaries also. So I watched 13th recently. I'm trying to remember the name. I watched a movie that profiled like abortion laws in Texas. That was really interesting.
Mm.
Definitely trying to dive into. I want to watch Leonardo DiCaprio's environmental
Yes,
documentary.
I'm trying to
Very,
find time to watch that myself. I hear it's
yeah,
good.
yeah. So lately of movies, I haven't really been going to like the movie theater, but really looking at different documentaries.
Hmm.
And then hang out with friends. I'm a really social person, so getting out. I'm in a book club. I'm in a sorority. I'm kind of in all these different groups. So I like to be out and about as much as possible.
Okay, so that's all great. And before we leave, I just want to say, or ask you, basically, if there was a student who was interested in what you're doing, or is to say, I'm really interested. I love science, and but I also like sociology. I like what she's doing as organizational and talking to these people. Or do I really need biology, or should I just do sociology? Like, what advice would you give a student who might want to do something that you're doing?
Ooh, a good question. I would tell them to remain flexible, and also study what you're really interested in. I realized in school, while I did really like biology, I have sometimes said if I would have gone back, I might have flipped and been a sociology major and a biology minor. Um, but just really be flexible. And I think students now get this pressure of like, well, that degree won't make any money or you can't do anything with it. And if you're studying something you're really into, you can learn a lot of other skills that are applied in the workplace through extracurricular activities, through campus jobs or other jobs, depending on where you're at in school. There's a lot of different ways to learn. So it doesn't necessarily have to be you pick this major and you're kind of locked in. I think things are really fluid. I think there's now more than ever so many resources to learn things you're interested in. Like you can learn how to code on the side, you can learn photography, like all types of different things. So don't think that if you're locked in one major or one minor, I know like school and college is a little bit of a small window. You can't do it all, but don't think that if you get locked in, you can't change, or if your interests change like mine did, that you can't switch your major, kind of organize. I would also suggest reaching out to what are they called, advisors, as much as possible. My advisors and mentors on campus really helped me walk through it. It's not something you have to figure out on your own, especially in college. I mean, everyone's pretty young. You don't really know what you want to do long term. You kind of have an idea and you're testing some things out, but it could really change the next day. So just remain flexible and open to new things. Don't knock anything until you try it.
Okay, well, that's great. Thank you, Mariah, for
Thank
coming on the show today and letting our audience know all about you. And for my audience, I just want to say thank you for joining us this week and learning more about careers that you can go into if you decide to do science, tech, engineering, or math, or STEM. And make sure you tune in next week. We always have a very special guest. And if you have any questions for Mariah, please send them to me and I will send them to her and I will get you connected. So until next time, thank you.